Our mission is to work in partnership with the community to maintain a safe and peaceful environment, maintaining the highest form of ethics and integrity, preserving property and life, and that's to work in partnership with the community.
There's always been some pressures in law enforcement, but in the last couple of years they've been even more intense. And so we spend a great deal of time working with our community, all aspects of our community, and trying to help them understand the role that law enforcement plays in their lives, and to try to establish those relationships, because when those crises occur, and they inevitably happen in every community, you build upon those relationships that you've already had established through those community outreaches. I think we do a really good job of that. I think that we have created some programs and we have people in places that believe in what we're trying to do.
SHIELD's a program that we developed, started about 18 months ago, and what happened was Chief Perdue communicated with me as the training coordinator, and he wanted to start a wellness program with our agency where we identified some components that we wanted to really hit home with our employees to make sure we provided resources for them to be effective employees, not only for us as an agency, but more importantly, them as employees and individuals.
Our ethical core is SHIELD. It's service, it's honor, it's integrity, it's ethics, life, which is the sanctity of all human life, and it's de-escalation. So we ask our employees to balance and reconcile every decision they make against those quantities, and to continuously reevaluate their decisions, continuously reevaluate the information that's coming in, base it against that foundation, that ethical core, and then make a decision that reconciles with that.
The foundation is a 3-day training scenario or training setup. The first day we did an introduction to PERF's ICAP modules, and then we also tied in our policy, our new policies, which includes a critical decision-making policy, a de-escalation policy, as well as a new use of force policy that we've labeled a response to resistance and aggression. What we're doing with day 2 from our sworn officers is implementing reality-based or practical scenarios where we're pushing the policies that we've revised, as well as the ICAP modules, the communicating with those in a behavioral crisis and giving those attempts to diffuse a situation. Day 3, we're going to come back and identify our wellness program that we've put in our SHIELD umbrella, but SHIELD's not just a 3-day program. Any training we do from this point forward will have SHIELD within it.
What we ask our employees to base all of those decisions, those 6 steps of the decision-making model, which is this wheel with 6 steps, and there's this ethical core, and then we're asking our employees to make decisions based on this, but we show them examples of how it's an instinctual process, and many of the employees are already making decisions in this manner. So the reception by the officers and the employees has been very positive. I'm very uplifted by that, and I'm looking forward to expanding the program and seeing where we can take it.
The Women in Law Enforcement program started, like many others do, out of a desire to want to help a particular segment of law enforcement. And several years ago, I sat down with one of my lieutenants, a female lieutenant, and said, we need to create a Women in Law Enforcement conference to bring together women to learn how to be successful in the world of law enforcement, in this male-dominated environment, and to provide opportunities for them to learn how their skill sets can benefit an agency and benefit them as individuals.
This is the 4th annual Women in Law Enforcement Conference. It is a conference held obviously every year, and today we have about 137 females that are here for practical purposes, practical training, classroom training in order to better themselves. The training itself, you won't find a lot of conferences like this one, and I say that because I think it's important to show them hands-on activities while they're here. You're in an atmosphere with instructors and trainers that are patient, that know what they're doing. Quality training that they're going to receive, they're going to always have with them throughout the years, where it comes into the classroom portions, or it's the firearms, or it's defensive tactics, or if it's the simunition training. All of that stuff is going to benefit them. I want them to know that they can succeed in this male-dominated field. I want them to know that they have a place in this job. I also want them to know and realize that they too can become a chief one day. They too can strive to be a sergeant. Even if you just want to be an officer, that's fine too, but I want you to be the best officer that you can be.
On an individual basis, it has demonstrated, has been successful for us because our organization has grown in our women in law enforcement because we are developing a reputation to be known as an agency that not only encourages women in law enforcement, but embraces them to come into the profession and will help them be successful when they come into that. I think as chiefs, our obligation to our employees is paramount. We are a service industry. That service comes from our employees. We as chiefs can only do so much as the bosses, and we have to invest in our employees so they will invest back in the community, and we have this partnership. We talk a lot about the community outreach. Well, I believe that there's a community inreach that goes on and making sure that we're related to our own employees. But we as chiefs have got to take that mantle of leadership and responsibility and do the things that are necessary. It's not good enough to relegate it. It's not good enough to make sure somebody else does it or just talk about it. You've got to invest your individual self in the lives of your people so they can in return give it back to the community.